Now in Carlton we join Andrea Catherwood for the ITV Nightly News.
Blair's bid to end the shame of Britain's homeless. Russian tanks storm Grozny tonight and meet fierce resistance. Tories shrug off scandal and back Norris for London Mayor. And Bristol Baby's heart doctor talks of a scapegoat culture.
From ITN, the ITV Nightly News with Andrea Catherwood.
Good evening. The Prime Minister launched Labour's new strategy against homelessness tonight when he visited the day centre at St Martin in the Fields in central London. He said it should be a source of shame for all of us that on the eve of a new millennium, sleeping rough was still such a visible problem. There are to be more beds for people reduced to sleeping on the streets, but the idea is also to tackle the root causes of homelessness. Terry Lloyd reports.
Tony Blair put his hand inside his own pocket for the needy tonight as he arrived at a London homeless shelter, pledging to reduce the number of street sleepers. This crypt-turned-soup kitchen has been used to help the homeless since the First World War. The Prime Minister met one man who'd spent 17 years on the streets before finding a job here 6 years ago. The government hope hundreds more will soon follow suit, but Mr Blair admitted to me they should have acted sooner.
Yes, I mean, I think that we should have woken up to the fact that there is a problem in Britain today with a section of people, of which the homeless out in the street is one part, but a section of people that are just cut off from society's mainstream, and they don't have the same chances as the rest of us. Now, I think that's not good for any of us in the end.
Being homeless continues to affect many across Britain. It's estimated that 2,500 people sleep rough in England, Scotland and Wales every night. The vast majority, 90%, are men. Many have serious health problems, 50% are thought to be alcoholics, and 20% use drugs. The government's drive against homelessness aims to replace scenes like this with this, a drop-in centre where those in need will get a roof over their heads, job training and help with their original problems. But the Prime Minister admits there's no quick fix. Tony Blair has chosen the run-up to Christmas to announce his new initiative. But to get to the grassroots of what causes people to take to the streets will take many years. Terry Lloyd, ITN, Central London.
More than 100 Russian troops are reported killed tonight in a 3-hour battle with rebel fighters in the Chechen capital, Grozny. A column of tanks and armour is said to have got almost to the centre of the city when it was surrounded and attacked. Neil Connery has the latest.
Reports from the Chechen capital tonight confirm that the patience of Russia's generals has finally run out. Federal troops have been bombarding Grozny for weeks, but now armoured forces have tried to move into the capital for the first time. There are reports they've been met by a fierce response from Chechen separatists. One eyewitness said the counter-attack left several burning Russian tanks and armoured personnel carriers. There are more than 7,000 Chechen fighters prepared to defend the city. For weeks they've been preparing for a Russian assault, but the force of their response seems to have cost Russia's forces dearly, with more than 100 reported killed. Russia had dropped leaflets warning those civilians still trapped to leave Grozny by last weekend. It's estimated as many as 40,000 civilians remain, though. Many are too old and infirm to make the dangerous journey. Now that Russian forces have begun their assault on the capital, those left behind are now trapped. Despite pressure from the international community on Russia to wait, the battle for Grozny has started. And for those who remain caught in between, the final stage in this bitter conflict is only just unfolding. Neil Connery, ITN.
The controversial Stephen Norris tonight topped the poll for the Conservative nomination for Mayor of London at a hustings meeting of party activists. Out of 6 candidates, it's he and Andrew Boff who go forward to the deciding postal ballot. Lauren Taylor reports.
Stephen Norris has had a turbulent few days, being off, then back on the shortlist to be a Tory candidate for London Mayor. Tonight he seemed relaxed as he arrived for the next stage of the race.
What you're actually looking at tonight is a selection process where every single member of the party in London has the right to come along and to cast their vote, and that's the way it should be. That's called democracy in action. It's a hell of a contrast with Labour.
Around 1,200 London Party members attended the hustings to hear all 6 candidates give speeches and take questions. Cameras were not allowed in. Stephen Norris spoke second. He made no mention of his private life, but stressed that he was the only candidate with the experience to take on whoever Labour fields for the job. Mr. Norris's campaign team had been concerned that those who tried to keep him out because of his past private life might once again try to scupper his chances. But tonight they felt that they had enough supporters in the hall to allow him through. And they were right. Andrew Boff and Stephen Norris made it onto the final shortlist of 2, with Mr. Norris well ahead on votes.
For me personally, it didn't quite look like this last Saturday night. But I suppose I'd be saying all's well that ends well.
After tonight's result, it now goes to a postal ballot of all 38,000 members of the London Tory party. Stephen Norris will then have to wait until January the 17th to find out if he's their choice. Lauren Taylor, ITN, West London.
Earlier today, the Conservative leader, William Hague, was given a formal ticking off by the Parliamentary Commissioner for Standards for not registering a favour from that former candidate for mayor, Lord Archer. Mr Hague had been using a gym at Lord Archer's apartment block for free for almost 2 years, but only declared it last month. Another murder on another train gave French police investigating the killing of the British student Isabelle Peake their first real lead today. They believe the same man was responsible for both deaths and are now hunting a known suspect. Bill Neely reports.
2 trains, 2 murders and now 1 suspect. The latest victim, a young French woman, was found stabbed to death on this train, the overnight service from Calais to the south of France.